Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first session of Ricago Labour Code webinar series, where we'll be breaking down all four labor codes over four dedicated sessions. I am Charan from Ricago, and I'll be your host for today's session. Firstly, thank you for taking your time and joining us as we deep dive into India's most significant labor reforms in recent years, the four labor codes. We'll just wait for another minute as more participants are about to join. While we wait, you can share in chat what you're hoping to learn today or your current understanding of the new labor codes. Yeah, thanks for the waiting. We'll start a session now. As you all know, the Government of India has consolidated 29 existing labor laws into four major labor codes: the Code on Wages, Industrial Relations Code, Social Security Code, and the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code. With implementation expected soon, organizations need to start preparing for the changes in payroll, HR policies, benefits, contractor management, and workplace practices. In today's session, we'll break down on what the labor code mean for employers, the practical changes you must plan for, how organizations can stay compliant with our without operational disruptions. Also, in today's session, we'll be focusing in detail on code on wages, and the upcoming sessions we'll cover the remaining three codes as well. We'll also open the floor to the Q&A at the end. So if you have any queries, you can drop the questions in the chat board. So as I told you, today is the our labor codes webinar series where we'll be covering the code on wages. The following three codes ka schedule is displayed on the screen. A quick background about Ricago, the organizers of the webinar. Ricago is a governance, risk and compliance company started in 2014. We help organizations in mitigating the risks of non-compliances with our technology platforms and services. Our speaker for today is Mr. Vaibhakar, an HR and labor law specialist with over 53 years of experience across industrial relations, labor consultancy, POSH advisory. He has worked with leading organizations and has also authored several books on labor laws. We are truly privileged to have his expertise and guiding us through today's discussion. With that, I would like to hand over the session to Mr. Vaibhakar.
Thank you, all the participants and Charan sir. Let me allow allow me to start my PPT.
Yes, your screen is visible, sir. You can put it on slideshow mode. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, good afternoon, participants. You are in Bangalore, I am in Pune, and we are talking on wages. Now, wages is such an important topic. Every employed person wants wages. Who doesn't want? But the disputes are most on wages only. And the reason is also obvious. It is like a cat and mouse. Employees want more wages, employer wants more work, and we have to find a balance. Like work-life balance. We have to balance it, then only there is peace. And when there is peace, there is production. So what happened was, prior to 1947, that is before independence, what used to happen? The thing was, the industries were owned by individuals. And if there is any function in the house of the owner, he used to deduct the contribution from the wages of workers, whether they want it or not. There were other deductions also. This was not a good practice. And therefore, the British government only decided to put some conditions, and therefore they enacted this law on wages that was in 1936, that is 11 years before independence. After independence, we have modified it to some extent, and what happened was, after independence, we used to go on enacting various laws as and when we needed it. So for the first 5-7 years, there were several acts once in a quarter. Therefore, on wages only, there are 5-6 acts. Also, we have our Constitution of India. And in Constitution, who will make the law? There is a list. One is the central list, one is the state list, and the third is concurrent list. In the central list, only the central government can make the laws. In the state list, only the state can make the laws on the subjects given in the list. But in the concurrent list, both can make the laws. Therefore, when the central government makes the laws, the state has to implement it only. They cannot make any contradictory law in the state. Now what happened, as I told you, we went on making several laws. So there was a suggestion from the second Labour Commissioner and other stalwarts also that instead of so many laws, we should simplify it. Some laws were outdated. The situations changed, circumstances changed. Many changes happened, therefore there was a need to modify the acts. Now, as a first step, I say first step because there are so many other steps are also to be taken. What the government has done is, they have classified the 29 acts, labor acts made by the central government into 4 codes. One code is wages, and in wages there are 4 laws: payment of wages, payment of bonus, minimum wages, and Equal Remuneration Act. Now these wages are to be paid to the employees as and when the work is done. The principle also is no work, no pay. So as I said, 4 acts: Payment of Wages Act, Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Bonus Act, Equal Remuneration Act are merged into Code of Wages. Earlier, the definitions used to be different in different acts. But now, since these acts are merged into one code, the definition is same for all the acts. So in this code, the definition of wage is now common for all 4 acts. What is to be included in wage? Basic and DA we know all. But what about others? There are so many allowances. So that definition is now common to all 4 acts. Minimum wage, that is what the employer must pay minimum. He can pay more than that, but this much minimum he must pay. And that minimum every employer must pay. What if he does not pay? Way back 40 years ago, the Supreme Court has decided that if you cannot pay the minimum wage, better you stop your business. If you want to do business, you must pay minimum wage. Further to that minimum wage, you and the union can agree and pay what is capacity to pay and what is wage in the region. Considering these two, every company used to decide the wages for their employees. But minimum wage is the minimum wage. The concept of floor wage is now advanced by central government because they wanted to show something as a national minimum wage. But consider you are in the central government. There are how many states and how many union territories with different backgrounds, different style of living, different living pattern. How to fix a minimum wage? A person can very well live in 5,000 rupees in a village. But if he has to live in a city, he will require nothing less than 20,000. Why? Because the cost of the things in village and in city are different. The cost of the house, the cost of the transport, the cost of education, everything is costlier in. Therefore, in cities also there is A class city, B class city. So they have decided that for the entire nation, we will have something as a floor wage. You cannot go below the floor wage. If any state wants to give more wages to their workers, they can say above, but not below that. That is the minimum. Why this is, when we are inviting foreign investment, the foreigners won't understand Maharashtra minimum wages, Bihar minimum wages, West Bengal minimum wages, UP minimum wages. They will understand what is national floor wage and they have to pay more than that. That's all. Claim of the minimum wage was possible within 6 months. Previously, suppose if any company is not paying minimum wage, workers are also ignorant, they do not know. Somehow a union appears there and they approach the labor office. Now the labor office will say, you have approached us today. So from today, go back up to 6 months only. If you say the company is paying less than minimum wages for last 10 years, we will not consider. Only 6 months. But now it can be 3 years. That is up to 3 years backwards, the workers can claim the difference between actual wage and the minimum wage. Now this is something new. The extension of the period from 6 months to 3 years is not a small amount. After all, the workers unite for what? For their rights. If the employer is not giving it, they approach the union. That is so simple. Central government decides the minimum floor wage for all the country and we have to follow it, in the sense we cannot give less than that. This is about the basic part on wages. Now, bonus is also wage because it is not given monthly, it is given annually, but it is their right. This bonus is of two kinds. What generally companies pay is profit sharing bonus. The company is having profit, they give a part of it to the workers, that is profit sharing bonus. But somewhere it is rare, but it does exist. The relations between employer and employees is very cordial. Company is not making profits. Therefore, the workers will not get more than 8.33. Minimum is 8.33 you have to pay. Then what to do? Company wants to give more to the workers. Law does not permit. In the sense, you can pay, but you will not get exemption from the income tax. So, they used to sign a productivity agreement with the employees that if your productivity is 50%, we will give you 8.33. If you produce at 60% efficiency, we will give you 10%. If you produce at 70% efficiency, we will give you 12%. Like that, they can make an agreement with the employees. That is called a productivity bonus. It is under Bonus Act. Bonus Act allows that. And productivity bonus, there can be disputes not only about bonus, but about productivity calculations also. So, exceptionally only that is followed. By and large, what is followed is profit sharing bonus. This bonus is paid. Wages also, if a worker commits a misconduct wherein he makes loss or damage to the company, the amount can be recovered from his wages. Bonus is also a wage. And therefore, full or part bonus amount can be forfeited by the employer. Why? Because the other idea about bonus is bonus is profit sharing. If you work properly, then we make profit and therefore you get bonus. If you do not work properly, we will not make profit and therefore you are also not entitled to bonus. That is the concept. This bonus can be forfeited, that is cancelled for him, not paid afterwards also. Riotous behavior, that is he quarrels with someone, very serious quarrel, then disorderly or violent behavior. Disorderly means which is not accepted by anyone. It is not in order. And violent is he becomes uncontrollable physically. And now they have added a special clause, sexual harassment. If he is found guilty about sexual harassment of any woman, then for that year he will not be paid bonus, either fully or partly. Bonus amount is forfeited, always not in full, depends upon the misconduct. But that can be forfeited. That is the right of the employer. But the misconduct must be proved. Just because someone says he has behaved righteously, no. There must be an inquiry, he must be found guilty, then only the employer can forfeit. Bonus has to be paid not in cash. It is to be paid in bank. This is obvious. You also can imagine that employers used to pay X amount and obtain signature on the voucher for X plus Y amount. So he benefits. That should not happen. Therefore, and nowadays, because of the government, about 80% of the Indians have a bank account. So that is to be credited in the bank account only. You can give the check also, but no cash. Suppose you declare bonus. Bonus is declared how? There is a table in the Bonus Act which says the audited accounts of the company, you take the amount of gross profits. From the amount of gross profits, you deduct depreciation, development, and what is required for the company. The balance is available surplus. What is available for distribution? Out of that available, you give 60% to the workers. That is called allocable surplus. You allocate that amount to the workers. And then what is the amount of wages? What is the proportion of that? That is the percentage of bonus. It is complicated. Only the chartered accountants can do it. We have to only understand it. We never tried to find out the percentage of bonus. Workers also do not understand what is the calculation. It is very complicated. But suppose if the company declares 8.33 or any amount less than 20%, because maximum you can pay is 20%. Then the union or the workers can say that we deserve more. If the company declares 10%, they will say we want 15%. If the company declares 15%, we want 20%. So there can be a dispute. And how the dispute is to be resolved? It is to be resolved by the court. And how do we go to the court? Under Industrial Disputes Act, there is a labor office, conciliation officer. We go to him. Then he first allows us to discuss before him. Then after a couple of months, when he feels, he admits the case in conciliation. Then for conciliation, there are only 14 days. After 14 days, he declares the conciliation, there was no settlement, therefore conciliation proceedings are closed. Then he sends that report to the Labour Commissioner. And then the Labour Commissioner refers this dispute to the tribunal or industrial court. And we all know how much time it takes in the court. So the government has now come with an idea that, okay, you have a dispute. Yes. What is the dispute on? Is a more percentage of bonus. But minimum you have to pay 8.33 in Indian case. So pay that. The workers get at least something in time. That is a good provision for the employees. If there is a dispute, minimum 8.33 is to be paid within 8 months of the close of the financial year. But we have Diwali as the biggest festival in India. So almost all companies pay before Diwali. Then coverage of bonus was a wage limited matter. There are two things. I am getting 20,000 wage, so I am covered in there. But do I get bonus on 20,000? No. There is what is called as a bonusable salary. What is bonusable salary? One is, if I am absent on some day, I do not get wages, that amount is deducted from this proportionate amount. If I am fined, some amount is forfeited, then that much amount is deducted and the balance is given. But if my salary is 25,000 rupees, then what? Then I am out of bonus. But some good employers, if the relations are good, that depends upon the employees also. They say maybe your salary is 25,000 or 30,000 or 50,000. We will pay you bonus on that bonusable salary, not on your actual salary. That is a good relations scenario, because everybody wants bonus, even if he is a worker, supervisor, manager, anybody. everybody expects bonus. That has become a part of our life. Now, this limit is removed. All employees are covered in bonus act. How much bonus they will get is on the bonusable salary. No limit on number of employees also. Previously, if there are 20 employees, the act was applicable. Now, even if there is one employee, bonus act is applicable. Therefore, many establishments will now be covered in the wages code. So to say, the earlier acts covered only 10% of the workers, industrial force, who were working in the manufacturing industries. But what about rickshaw drivers? What about the taxi drivers? What about the other workers who are working on their own? They are also citizens of India. They also want some future. They are also working for someone else. Therefore, they should also get some protection, some social security, something. Not may not be as a permanent employee of a company, but yes, they are also human beings. They also should be entitled to something. And therefore, this is extended to even smaller companies. Maybe you have got only one employee, but this act is applicable. Here I am giving an illustration. The other concept is that whatever you pay, 50% has to be basic and DA. Why? Because the Provident Fund, ESI, bonus, gratuity, all depends on basic and DA. So what used to happen? The basic and DA was less. The allowances were more. Then the burden, that is called an indirect burden, is less. But how much? एक आने की मुर्गी 2 रुपए का मसाला, ऐसी कहावत है ना हमारे इधर. वैसे basic is less, allowances are more. As far as the employee is concerned, he will feel I am getting what I want, the salary. It doesn't matter whether something is basic and something is allowance. We in India do not think about our future. What is now in my hand, that is more important to me than what is in future for me. So illustration 1 is basic is 20,000, DA is 5,000, and rest all are allowances. Total is 31,350. In the other illustration also, the total is same, 31,350. But here the difference is his basic is 10,000, DA is no, and rest all is in the allowances. So in the first illustration, 20 plus 5, 25,000 is basic and DA, and in the second illustration, only 10,000. So who will benefit? The employer benefits. The employee also benefits in the sense he gets more in hand. But in future, he will not benefit. Employee will not benefit. Because in Provident Fund, whatever the employee contributes, similar amount the employer contributes. That they don't understand. Okay, for our example, 31,350, 50% of that is 15,675. Now in the illustration 1, the basic and DA is 25,000, that is more than that amount. So he now cannot reduce it to 50%. One cannot reduce what is given. Employees will never agree. He will have to continue to pay provident fund, ESI, bonus, gratuity on 25,000. He cannot reduce it. But in illustration 2, 10,000 is much less than 50% of 31,350. So long they were paying these on 10,000 rupees only. Now they can keep this bifurcation, but they will have to pay on 15,675 because that has to be 50% of the total amount. This is the benefit to the employees, and this the employers did not know or worked under the pressure of workers. I have experienced it myself. The workers say, "अभी क्या मिलता है वो हमें दे दो. What we will get afterwards, we are not interested." So they force the employer. हमको provident fund नहीं चाहिए. अरे क्यों नहीं चाहिए भाई? Why don't you want it? It is an act. The inspector comes and questions the employer. Why have you not covered him under the provident fund? The employer says, "Sir, listen to me. I was trying to cover them, but they said they don't want provident fund. What can I do? If I cover him, he will resign and go away. What do I do?" Inspector will not understand that. He will say, "He is covered, you have not covered him, you are fine." To remove that to certain extent, now it is law. 50% you have to pay. Therefore, these two illustrations. If you are already paying more than 50%, no change. In future, if you want to revise his wages and allowances, what you can do is you can increase in the allowances. In the illustration 1, HRA, conveyance, attendance, uniform, canteen, whatever allowances are there, you can increase that. So the total will increase, but the basic and DA amount will be more than 50%. So long as it doesn't come up to 50%, you can increase only in allowances when you are revising the wages, maybe annually, maybe by way of agreement or whatever it is. So that is the position about Wages Act. Now another thing in Code of Wages is male or female. Now we have got both gender working in industry and everywhere else. You may have observed in the building and construction industry, workers carry bricks on their head. Same amount of bricks, same weight, same height, everything is same. But a man gets 100 rupees, woman gets 80 rupees. Why? Gender difference. Woman gets less pay. Now that is not allowed. Employer cannot differentiate between male and female. For that matter, forget about male and female gender, but between two employees, you cannot differentiate. But there is an exception also. That exception is the employer can give different wages to different people if he can prove that the skill required, the experience needed, the experience required, the responsibility given to him is different, then wages can be different. But if these are the same, you have to give same wage to all the persons who are in that grade. Got it? So not that no gender differentiation, that means the employer's rights are gone. No. Employer has got still the right to differentiate between two persons based on this skill, experience, responsibility. If that is different, obviously he can pay differently. Another important thing is previously there were inspectors. The inspector used to come as a king, examine any record, write on the report book, and threaten the employer. ये नहीं किया, वो नहीं किया. You have not done this, you have not done that. Show cause. Now that is gone. Now inspectors are no more. Now their duty is facilitator. That means they will have to educate the employer. If there is something wrong going on, he will have to tell them this is wrong, this is how you have to do it. In spite of that, if the employer does not do it, then he can issue them a notice, no doubt about it. But initially only, when the employer is unaware of that, when the employer does not know that, because the laws are intricate, the inspector is there who has studied in that, he has got only that work, therefore he knows in detail. I know a factory inspector that I will tell you in where this uh, occupational safety, health and that code. I will tell you that example there. Earlier, the inspection was done on the territorial basis. This part of the city is given to one inspector. That part of the city is given to another inspector. So in that area, whatever establishments are there, the inspector can go there. Therefore, there were calculated, what word should I use now? अंदर की बात रहती है वो. So inspector and this thing, they had a lot of chance for corruption. Now, the inspection is done on computer basis. The inspector does not know to which factory he will go. The employer does not know who inspector will come. That will reduce the corruption. And that will also do away with the objections by the inspectors as also the employers. Now it is random. It was first tried in Income Tax Act. You have your income, you pay tax. Who verifies it? The income tax officer. Who income tax officer? You do not know. The computer will decide who inspector ESI, this income tax inspector should come to you. A computer decided. Now, next thing is about the records. Earlier there were so many records. Employer used to keep the record in a particular way. Inspector will come and say, no, this is not the register what is approved in the act. Times are changing. We are going forward. Simple case of recording attendance. When I was young, the attendance was, there used to be muster, a supervisor sitting at the gate, anybody comes, mark him P. Then in textile mills especially, there were cards given to each employee. When he comes, he will take that card and give it to the timekeeper. That means these people are present. By looking at the board, he can say how many people are absent. Then came the punching clocks. He will have to put the card in the clock and press a handle. Then the time will be recorded there. Now it is thumb impression. And beyond that is face impression. This is not provided in the act. So inspectors used to disallow that. Cause of conflict. Now, these registers are also reduced. There are only 2 registers now and only 1 return. The employer is not bothered about so many registers, so much record, so many returns. Even if 1 employee is there, this is applicable. the earlier restrictions on number of employees is removed. Accounting year is 1st April to 31st March. We say what is there new, yet I am saying. This was actually done by Rajiv Gandhi when he was the Prime Minister. Before that, what used to happen was the employers used to have 2 or 3 or 4 companies. Everybody's accounting year is different. One will be from 1st of January, one will be from 1st of April, one will be from Diwali. And at the end of the year of one company, he will transfer the funds to the other company, so that he can say, I have earned less profits. So less income tax, less everything. So this should not be allowed. Therefore, you may follow for your convenience any year, but financial year is 1st April to 31st March. Everywhere now in all acts, year is 1st April to 31st March. Even now, I have seen where there are MNCs, multinational companies, in their countries the year is different. Therefore, they maintain 2 sets of accounts. One for their discussion and control, that is from 1st January to 31st December, and for our Indian government, 1st April to 31st March. All these, if we consider in entirety, what I will say is wages is an important subject between employer and employee. The malpractices are removed. The employers are given some concessions, and the employees also have some responsibility. Only thing is, law is what the law is on the paper. How it is implemented is different. Every new thing we cannot opine, or we should not opine on that. Let it come into existence. Let them be administered. Let us see while administering it, what are the difficulties, we can amend it. The government has not said these codes mean they are final now, henceforth nothing will be amended. They will amend it. So no need to worry. This is one step towards easy things. We want foreign investment. Foreigners, if they come here, they first put their hand on their head. There is so many acts. It is only 4 acts now. The critics say that these codes, the old acts, the same provisions are there in the new code. So what is new in that? Yes, you cannot change the act entirely, can you? No. All the provisions will be there, but wherever there is a change needed, that the government has done it. So let us give it a try, see how it is implemented. If there are any difficulties, we can make always amendments in the law. Thank you. Now, if you have any questions, you can please ask. You must have written it in the chat box. That will be read out to me. I will answer. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Vibhav, sir. Sir, you can mute. It's echoing.
Huh.
You can just mute for 2 minutes. Mics. Yeah, it's okay. It's not echoing now. We can go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the valuable insights. As you highlighted, the implementing the labor codes requires organizations to rethink the documentation, payroll structure, wage components, and much more. Given the context of complexity in managing the labor compliances in this labor codes era, I'd like to share that Ricago offers a comprehensive labor compliance services to help organizations stay compliant under the new labor framework. From maintaining statutory registers and preparing returns to handling documentation, advisory, liaison with the government authorities, our team ensures you to stay compliant with all the operational hassles. Whether it's understanding the new codes, updating the process, or managing ongoing compliances, our labor compliance experts are here to support you. Please feel free to reach out to us in terms of any assistance. With that, now we'll move on to the Q&A segment. We have already collected questions in the chat bot. I'll be reading it out now. So our speaker will answer the questions one by one. So yeah, moving on to the first question. Would like to know significant changes from previous law, how companies are adopting it.
The major changes you must have observed from my other PPT explanation. The 50% of the total wage is to be considered for all acts, Provident Fund, ESI, bonus, gratuity. That is one major improvement. Second improvement is that records and registers are simplified. Third important thing is the definition. In earlier acts, a person was covered in one act, not covered in other act. Now it will not be so. He is covered means he is covered in all those acts which are merged into a code. These are the major changes or improvements in the all codes, so also in wages code.
Yeah. Next question, sir. Currently, industry are calculating gratuity and leave encashment based on basic. So what will be the new process of calculation?
The new calculation will be on basic and DA because DA is also an important part of the remuneration. So that has to be calculated whether leave encashment or gratuity or bonus. It is basic plus DA.
Okay.
DA is in two ways. One is what is announced by the government and one is agreed between the employer and employees. But whatever it is, DA is to be taken along with basic.
Yeah. Next question. Is it correct to pay minimum wages as monthly gross salary and keeping 50% of it as basic and DA?
See, there is what is called as national floor wage. Now, when you pay minimum wages prescribe only basic and DA. So, all 100% is basic and DA. There is no 50% so far as the minimum wage is concerned. Those who are getting more wages, in their case 50% is applicable. But for minimum wage, there cannot be 50% because they are getting entirely as basic and DA only.
Correct. Yeah. So next question. Statutory bonus is only applicable for remuneration up to rupees 21,000 even after the new code. Is this statement
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is right.
Yeah. Next question. What about the variable pay and performance pay paid annually? Is it based on performance?
No, it will be counted in the allowance because what is paid monthly is the wage. Basic DA is paid monthly. Only bonus which is paid once in a year is wages. Otherwise, all other payments which are made, except monthly, quarterly or annually, LTA, leave travel assistance, is once in a year. That will not be part of basic and DA. That will be in allowances only. So this performance is based on performance, not the work. How efficiently he works, that is to be seen. And for that, as I said, the employer can differentiate. There has to be no gender difference, or he cannot differentiate between two employees. But here he can differentiate. The one who is performing, he will give him good allowance. That is performance allowance, based on his performance. And that is an allowance. That will come in the other 50%.
Okay. Next question. As per the new wage code, does bonus apply to trusts, educational institutes, etc.?
If the act is applicable to them, bonus also will be applicable to them. What has to be decided is trust, etc., whether there is an employer-employee relationship. In the definitions, it is given who is an employer, who employs someone to do any skilled, unskilled, manual, technical work for wages or for kind. If that is the relationship, yes, bonus is applicable to them. But if that is not the relationship, it is not an industry, it is not a commercial establishment, bonus act will not be applicable to them.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, where do I find statutory bonus coverage limit in code as the rule is not published yet?
Rule is not published. Rule is what? Rule is only a policy. This is the act. This you have to implement. How you will implement it are the rules. Even if the rules have not come, the act is there. And further thing is, what the Delhi court has now clarified is, it is the duty of the government to publish the rules and then make the rules. It is the duty of the government to cancel the labor courts and industrial courts and establish industrial tribunals. So long as government is not doing it, the whole thing will continue.
Okay. Okay. So there are a couple of questions related to bonus. I'll try to merge both of them.
Yes.
Firstly, what is bonusable salary consists of? And is it calculated on total salary or basic salary?
Basic and DA
Okay.
always go together, not only
Yes.
on basic and DA. Right. Now, bonusable salary is 7,000 rupees. Coverage is 21,000 rupees. Those who are getting 20,000 rupees wage or 15,000 rupees wage or 21,000 rupees wage, their bonusable salary is 7,000. And if their salary is more than 21,000, they will not be covered at all. But whatever bonus is there, it is to be calculated as a percentage on basic and DA. Always. It is like husband and wife together.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on to the next question. What if the basic is at 50% of CTC, but the organization is allowed to contribute 12% or minimum PF, which is 1800? Is it allowed?
See, in the CTC, we calculate everything. What is the cost to the company? In that, there will be basic and DA and there will be other allowances. Okay. In the CTC, they cannot put less than what the law prescribes. They cannot say if the provident fund is 12%, they cannot say we will calculate at 10%. That is not their liberty. They have to say 12% only. Gratuity, 15 days wage per completed year of service. That much only has to be paid. They cannot say 10 days or they cannot say anything else. That is the law that they must follow. CTC is your internal calculation. In that, how you implement the provisions of the law is your liberty. But you cannot violate the law. So in CTC, if basic and DA is more, it is cost to company per month or per year. If it is per month, then the total cost, 50% of that will be basic and DA. If it is more than 50%, no problem.
Yeah.
You have to
Also,
pay on what
I
comes.
don't think companies will like this question, but can the basic be more than 50% if employee wants?
If there are individual agreements with the employees, then they can do it. But if there is an agreement with the union, everybody gets it. No one will get it separately. No
Yeah.
employee can say, I want it differently.
Hmm. Okay. Next question. When will these registers format and returns format will be notified?
In the rules, and the rules are yet to come.
Any expected timelines, sir?
You can say 1st of April 2026.
Okay. So again, one more question adding to the old question. So let's say if rules are coming out on April 1st, 2026, But the government has said all these codes are live from November 2025. Should I do the backdated filings in the new format?
No, our financial year is from 1st of April to 31st of March. So our financial year has begun on 1st of April 2025. So according to the existing laws, we are preparing the records and register that will be there.
Okay. If the employee relieved after 21st November 2025, then whether employer has to pay F&F as per the new code on wages?
If the employee leaves, he leaves everything. He cannot claim anything afterwards. Therefore, in the wage agreements also, the parties do write, the employer and the union, that the benefits under this agreement will be granted to the employees who are on the rolls of the company as on the date of the agreement.
Okay.
Those who are left, those who are to, out of that, no benefit to them.
Okay. So given this context, now all the contracts with your existing employees, should everything be rewritten when the new code comes?
Of course, yes.
Yes.
If that is over and above what the law says, there is no worry. But if it is less, then you will have to amend it to that extent.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So one more question here. Do we need to maintain register even if there are less employees, like less than five?
See, the law prescribes it, but is it not better for the employer to maintain this register? Whether the law is there or not, he requires the history of the employee for the accounts also. So it is better that he maintains the registers, whether there are 100 employees or 10 employees or one employee.
Got it. Got it. Uh, Please throw light on retaining allowances, which will be considered along with basic plus DA for calculating gratuity.
Yes. In the law, the definition of wages include basic DA and retaining allowance. So retaining allowance is to be clubbed with basic and DA. What is retaining allowance? It is in more or less in seasonal industries. When the season is over, till the next season, he is not employed, there is no work, but he is paid something that you come when the next season starts. That is retaining allowance. That is as if it is wages.
Got it. So inspector term is changed as facilitator. Will
Hmm.
the roles and responsibilities will change for inspectors?
Of course, it has to change, and if it doesn't change, the employer can complain to the authorities.
Okay.
He has to be a friend to the industry, not a police to the industry.
Yeah. I think this is related to one particular state, but I'll try to generalize. Shall
Uh-huh.
we wait for state's orders specifically to implement it?
Yes, of course, because as I told you, act is act. How you implement it is the rule. And if your state government does not make the rule, there will be no change. The act will be there. There are some states in India who will not agree to these new codes. They will not frame the rules. These acts will not be applicable there.
Yes, yes. One more question. For private companies, there is no DA. What to be considered in this case going forward?
No necessity. What is DA? The prices in the market are increasing. If you say that you are employed on 100 rupees basic wage, that does not change month after month, but prices are increasing, and therefore he wants more wages. For that, DA is there. DA is dependent upon the index in the market that the government publishes, cost of living index.
Okay.
So if there is no DA, and in my example illustration, 31,350, if you give him 20,000 as basic, no DA, nothing, there is nothing wrong. You are giving more than 50% as basic. It is not necessary that you give DA. In managerial positions, there is no DA. It is only for workers, employees.
Yeah.
No need to pay DA separately. It is not a compulsion.
Understood. Understood. So yeah, we are running short of time. We have already crossed our time. We'll just take a couple of other questions. And also, participants, if your question is not answered, please don't worry. You can drop us an email to hello@ricago.com. We'll discuss with the speaker and we'll get your questions answered. We'll just take a couple more questions, sir, if that's okay.
For my side, it is okay.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think this is one buzzing question in the market. How can F&F be done in 2 days? Is it practically possible?
How can?
F&F, full and final settlement, should be done in 2 days. Is it
Yes, yes,
practically
yes.
possible?
See, what is full and final settlement? That is in either of the two cases. One is the employee resigns and the other is the company terminates him. Now, if the company is terminating him, their decision is not 1 minute before the termination letter. They are deciding it 1 week in advance, 1 month in advance. So they can always calculate it. No problem for them. And if the employee has resigned and you have accepted his resignation, 2 days is more than enough. You are calculating his monthly salary. Thus, you have to calculate only proportionate salary. If he is resigning from 17th of the month, you have to calculate his salary from 1 to 17th. That is full and final. It can be done within 2 hours. You are talking about 2 days.
Okay.
What we do is we call the employee on the next working day.
We should hear what our HRs will tell for this.
Uh,
So yeah, can an employee have an option to not join the PF scheme?
no, if the law is applicable, he must join PF scheme. There is no choice for the employee.
Again, I think most of the questions here, I'll just summarize. 50% basic is on gross or CTC.
CTC, if it is per month, then 50% of that. It can be called as a gross salary also.
Okay. Whether the labor code is applicable from 21st November? If yes, then how companies are going to handle the closing of December yearly returns?
No, the acts are there. Unless and until the rules are framed, the acts have no value. Rules are to be framed. If the rules are not framed, the acts will not be applicable. The old acts will continue.
Okay. Couple other questions. Is gratuity payable after 1 year? And if we don't have DA, can basic be considered for calculation?
Yeah, for gratuity, basic NDA is considered. That is firstly. Secondly, under the Gratuity Act, gratuity is payable only after an employee works for 5 completed years. Now, what happens is you are an employee, you are employed at the age of 25 and you retire at the age of 60. So you can work up to 35 years. But if you leave in between, you are giving up on your own. So before 5 years, if he leaves, then he forgoes his gratuity amount. That is his fault. He did not complete. He could have completed, but he does not complete. But when an employee dies, when an employee is dismissed, that time the employer does not allow him to complete 5 years. In that case, whatever years he has worked, he will get that gratuity. So also, now the term is fixed term employees. You employ them for a fixed period. After that, their services are over. They are not allowed to complete 5 years. During their whole of the life, they will be FTEs, full-time employee, limited time employees, and they will never get gratuity. Therefore, this provision that for them, Whatever period they have worked, they will get the gratuity. It is
Okay.
not their fault. Therefore, they will get before 5 years also.
Yeah. If the minimum wage of Delhi is 24,000, then monthly salary of the employee should be 30,000, as 50% has to be taken and kept in basic plus DA.
Yes, 30,000 is what? His wages. And
Correct.
minimum wages are 24,000 rupees.
Mhm.
So, minimum wage is 24,000 rupees and minimum wages workers are getting PF on 24,000 rupees. How can you pay his provident fund on 15,000 rupees, 50% of 30,000? That will be an anomaly. Minimum wage is the benchmark. Below that, no one. So 50% will not apply there. There what will apply is the minimum wage 24,000. Otherwise, you could have said 50% of 30,000 is 15,000. I will pay on 15,000. But because the minimum wages are more than 15,000, what are the minimum wages? There will be unrest from the permanent employees.
Yeah.
A casual employee, a temporary employee gets the minimum wage and he gets on extra amount. Why I should not get?
Yeah. One more question. Like, even after putting 50% in basic, can I still pay minimum PF of 1,800 rupees?
No.
Okay.
Whatever is your actual basic, on that you have to pay provident fund.
Okay. You have mentioned that for bonus, the limit of 21,000 is removed. So does that mean that all employees are covered in bonus?
Yes, yes, yes. So the high salaried employee should be happy.
Uh, Again, it's same question. Like, they said everything is live from 21st November. So should we have to pay arrears in if new rule comes in April 2026?
The rules or the act is always prospective. Act can be retrospective because it is only the act. But rules are to be always prospective from the date when they are made applicable by a separate notification by the government. From that date onwards, this will apply. So, if the government has made rules already on this wages code, it will be applicable now only from 21st of November. Then, up to 21st of November according to old acts, and after 21st of November according to the new code.
We'll take one last question, sir. Can we
Yes.
structure the compensation so that special allowance acts as the balancing component after fixing the basic salary at 50% of CTC?
You have the liberty to make the changes in the composition of the total wage. That you can do it. To make it 50%, you can make it. Whether you continue to call it special allowance, 50% of the total listing is taken as 50% basic.
Understood. Yeah. So again, thank you, Vaibhaka sir, for the wonderful insights. We have still a lot more questions. I know the topic is interesting because it's related to salaries and wages, but still we have our time limits. So, participants, if your question is not answered, feel free to write to us at hello@ricago.com. We'll definitely answer the questions. Also, just to give you a heads up, our next session is on Thursday, which is 11th, where we'll be covering the Social Security Code in detail. On that day, we'll also be offering you a free labor codes gap assessment along with a personalized readiness report. So don't miss that session. If we get a chance, we'll try to answer the few more questions related to code on wages that session. Thank you all once again for joining us today. We look
Charan
forward
Singh,
to
what
seeing
I
you on
can tell you,
Thursday.
Charan Singh, what I can tell you is, as I am knowledgeable about this code, the participants are not, obviously. So immediately they may not have any question.
Yeah,
They will
yeah.
go back, they will discuss with their peers and others, and then they will have a question.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. See, as our webinar series will go till next week. So
Ah,
meanwhile, whenever you have questions, feel free to drop to us. We'll have a dedicated Q&A session organized for you guys.
good.
Okay. We look forward to see you all on Thursday again at 3 p.m. so that we'll discuss on the Social Security Code. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you all the participants.
Thank you.
May I leave now?
Yes, sir, please. Thank you.